The dawn of civilization. Primitive. Dangerous. Exciting. The handwriting is on the wall. If the human race is ever going to amount to anything, it needs
the most civilized caveman I have ever seen.
Look who's come out of his cave.
Last time we did this, my oldest son came into the room and was just like super excited about the Octonauts movie and like continued to tell me about the whole thing.
Oh my God.
For about 5 minutes.
Yeah. I was just like trying to be like, buddy, can you just tell me about this later? And I was like, all right, let's embrace the moment.
This is my big son. This is my big break. I can't do this right now.
So if anyone's just tuning in, we have Jonathan Fraser here with us today. Thanks for coming on the show.
No problem. Thanks for inviting me.
Anytime. So just for anyone who's listening who might not be familiar with you and your work, do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself?
I like to think of myself as just a musician from Huntington Beach who likes to dabble in a lot of things. I did like acoustic folk music for like the first maybe 8 years of me doing this, but now it's gradually moved on to other genres, such as metal or shoegaze or post rock or ambient. So all those kinds of things. So I try to. It's a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah, I had a look through your back catalog and listened to a bunch of stuff from all different dates, and there's a lot of variety in there. Like, honestly, it blew my mind how many genres you've covered.
Yeah, thank you. I had a lot of time on my hands.
Yeah, I mean, even within individual albums, like if you look, I'm just talking about your most recent one, Heaven is at a Distance. Every song is so different. You go through a whole spectrum of different styles and influences in each track alone. So, I mean, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, thank you. I put a lot into that record. I put my heart and soul into that one particular thing. It was very, very important to me. And
yeah, I read that. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. It's a time.
Yeah, it had to sound the way it did due to like what it was about and the subject matter and all that.
That's what I was going to ask you. I read the album description, and it sounds like it was a very a personal album for you that became pretty much, well, the easiest way to say it is from the heart, really.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
So for anyone who isn't familiar with the album, Heaven is at a Distance is the most... Actually, you had something in February, didn't you? So the Elise collabs, that was your most recent thing you've done?
It was the most recent thing I released, but it was recorded like sometime beforehand. Okay.
So Heaven is at a Distance is the most recent album. For anyone who wants to check it out, that's on Bandcamp, Spotify. Is it on Apple Music as well?
Yes, it's on all streaming platforms.
Great.
Yeah, I
Apple
listened
Music
to
as
it
well.
on Spotify this morning.
Yeah, Brendan, are you familiar with much of Jonathan's work, or is it more of a recent discovery like it was for me in the last few months?
You know what? It was actually recent, and then come to find out, there's like another band that I was listening to that I found out recently that keeps popping up and like kind of like albums keep popping up together. Was another band called Kulak. But anyways, yeah, this recently, and I like it a lot, man. Like it's super. I listened to Mitzvah first. Was the first thing I listened to before I listened to the new one that you just released, and I was like, wow, man, this is really kind of nice and somber. Just like, really sets out a great mood. Just super light. I don't know. It was just like beautiful in a way, And then I moved on and did some other albums and just, everything. Sorry, I can't, looking for the name of it right now. It was just a little 2-splitter you did, 2 songs.
Seasonal Depression?
Yeah, I just listened to that like just before we all got together. Thank you. I can't remember the name of it.
No problem.
Yeah. That's really good.
Oh, thank you very much.
For me as well, Heaven is at a Distance was the first thing of yours that I had come across. So that was my introduction to your music as well. And yeah, immediately I was like, wow, there's some powerful stuff. I really like the fact that the album is kind of like a journey that you go from complete despair and darkness into sort of a hope and like a new lease on life by the end of it.
Mm-hmm. That's, to me, I think it was sort of, I wanted it to be like an important lesson where even if you're in like the darkest part of your life, you can find your way out of it instead of, just, mellowing in it, which is, it's common I think with a lot of artists. Well, they'll talk about a lot of struggles that they're going through, but they never talk about how they're going to get past it, or the hope of getting past it, because some just don't know how.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you seem to really be able to balance like darkness with light and like heaviness with there's like a smoothness. There's a lot of the, I guess, duality in your music.
Yeah. I want to try and incorporate both of those worlds whenever I'm doing something. Particularly with this one, it was difficult because to me most of that record is very, very dark and melancholic and just full of despair stuff because of a lot of the things that are discussed, and the parts that are like more hopeful to me are like the most important tracks. So like the last song, for example.
That one is The Will to Exist, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
I have to say, track 4, that one blew me away. Vengeful Burden.
That's great.
Yeah, that is a powerful. That track hits hard.
You can hear the emotion, and everything you do for sure. Like, definitely a very passionate musician.
Thank you. That's probably the closest I've ever gotten to like a Scram song.
That was with Jake Harris, right?
Yes, correct. He's in a band called Karas. They're an amazing band. I've been friends with him for years.
Yeah, I actually checked them out after I heard that song he did with you. So thank you for introducing me to that. They have some fantastic music.
Yes, they do. Thank you. Glad you checked them out.
Yeah. Well, what were you going to say about The Will to Exist?
Oh, I was saying that song, particularly to me, is like the most important song on the album, because that's the point where you've pretty much processed everything that's happened to you and the actions that you've done. And it's coming to a point where, all right, I don't want to be in this place anymore. I've realized what this has done to me. I have to move on to something. I have to mold myself into something better from all this, because I can't just. It's not sustainable to be in that place for the rest of your life. It's just not.
Yeah, and the lyrics are amazing. You can definitely read it, hear it.
Wait, were you talking about lyrics for like Vengeful Burden for like, or for Will to Exist?
I was talking about Will to Exist. That's what we're talking about, right? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Oh, you're talking about the narration at the end is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So those were actually taken from a short story. So because I was originally not going to have any kind of vocals at the end because I hate my voice. So but then I found this short part, this like little batch of texts, and I decided to use that. It's from The Painted Drum. It's from Luis Enrique. So that's where I got that from. Fit really well, I think.
So when you say you hate your voice, is that why you do generally why you do so many collaborations with other artists to get those vocals on your albums?
For the most part, yeah. And it's also just, I just like collaborating with people. I like experimenting. For the longest time, my music was dominantly instrumental.
Right.
Yeah, it is. And it's really good. It's really well. I was like, wow, like my wife would love these albums. Like these are like great. Like, it's like, they're really nice.
My goal has always been to let the music speak for itself. It doesn't need vocals. It doesn't need a voice.
Right.
Yeah. Well, what instruments are you actually playing? Are you playing everything?
For Heaven's at Distance, or for?
Well, for everything you make.
I play guitar. I play everything. For Heaven is at a Distance, I did the guitars, the keyboards. I wrote the bass and the drum parts, and then they were fleshed out by Elias and Brian.
Nice.
Yeah, but I do everything myself. I tend to record everything myself. If there's something that's just beyond my reach, I reach out to a friend or something to help me out. But I usually have the part written before that happens.
But yeah, you have the vision there.
Okay, so you're the
execution. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, you compose everything yourself, and then you just get people, hey, do you want to do this sort of role on this album or this track?
Yes, exactly.
Great. That's awesome. So everything is your vision.
Correct.
Wow. It's a lot of you have a lot of vision with the number of pieces you put out. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Well, so what's been your favorite collaboration so far?
Damn, that's like asking who your favorite child is.
I know. I'm sorry. That's kind of personal. You don't have to answer.
No, well, the one that comes to mind immediately is with City of Dawn, that album that we did in Mizpah. I'm very, very happy with that record.
This morning.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Yeah, I'm friends with him. His name's Damien. He's a fantastic dude. He's done a lot of great work with his project. It's very soothing. It helps a lot of people who suffer from anxiety. That's the goal he's trying to set with a lot of his music.
Yeah,
so it's very noble.
Yeah, it's great. I was trying to deal with like an issue this morning, and I'm like, like this music is actually like perfect for what I need right now. And then like, trying to like figure this whole thing out, and then I'm like, all right, it's the afternoon. I'm gonna have to switch some gears and like blast my eardrums for a minute or two, and then. Yeah, I don't know. It's really nice. I'm telling you, it was really good and relaxing for sure.
Yeah, it took over a year to finally get it finished. So like the title track Mizpah,
yeah,
we actually recorded that in 2019.
Okay.
Like in the beginning of 2019. And we had a couple other songs that were in the works, but everything we got busy with other stuff. So we actually didn't get back to recording any more stuff until the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
So since we had nothing else to do, we just decided, okay, let's finish it. So we put it all together and turned out great.
Nice. And so it means Mizpah is Hebrew for watchtower. Is there more kind of like stuff going on with that album, or like is it?
Well, it's actually the translation that we used for Mizpah. It actually translates to. Hold on, let me look here. It's called being separate. It roughly translates to being separate. It's a meaningful thing to being separated by distance or death.
Yeah.
So it's actually an old biblical term. So all the song titles here are like very, very old biblical terms.
Yeah. The one that comes, for the research that I did and whatnot, and my wife's Jewish, so it's fun. You get to learn all this fun stuff. But it was more like it was like two pieces that were separate, and then like they kind of come together in a way. So it was kind of what I was reading about. Nonetheless, it's getting a little boring for that, but that album is amazing and super beautiful for sure.
Yes, thank you.
I kind of noticed looking back to your discography that a lot of, I'm not sure about all of them, but a lot of them essentially are either concept or themed albums. Is that something you always try to do with your work, or is it just how it's kind of played out?
It's a bit of both. I think for my earlier stuff, there wasn't really much of a concept. It was just, putting out songs and just putting out records and stuff. But gradually over time, it just kind of ended up being concepts because there were a lot of different things going on in my life during those periods.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at the one.
First album that was the first album where I really think I started incorporating concept was like The Lost Smile, and then from then on it became kind of like that.
Okay. And what was the concept on that one?
So we had a good friend back in the East Coast. His name was Uncle Hank. We called him Uncle Hank. And he was known for having like this amazing smile, and it almost never went away no matter what was going on. and he sadly passed away from cancer, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So the album was supposed to be sort of a remembrance to him.
Right. Okay. Oh. And what about the one soundtrack to an American Giallo? Am I pronouncing that correctly? Giallo or?
American Giallo. So that record was made to be a soundtrack to like a Giallo film that didn't exist. So
Okay.
Are you too familiar with Giallo films?
No, I'm not.
Okay,
I'm
so they're like very old school Italian slasher films, like from the 60s and the 70s.
Gotcha.
And they're known for having like really emotive and amazing soundtracks. So there's a lot of tense scenes, but there's a lot of like very erotic scenes as well. So it's a very unique genre of film that unfortunately is not really a thing anymore. Because when slashers came to the scene, like it was kind of obsolete.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think the first Giallo I ever got into was Don't Torture a Duckling by Lucio Fulci. That was a really good one.
Okay.
So I went through a phase where I was just like binge watching Giallo films.
I went through like a crazy phase of watching Takashi Miike films. He's from he's Japanese. Oh my god, amazing, amazing, just over the top, amazing.
What kind of films did he do?
He did one that I would suggest starting off with is Imprint. It was made for TV, and then they actually banned it from TV. It was for the Masters of Horror TV series, and yeah, they took his. You're like, no, can't do that.
Wait, is that
the Killer?
The episode where is that the? Sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say he also did Itchy the Killer, Zebra Man. There's a bunch of. He did so many different things. It's Izzo, just a lot of really cool, crazy, over the top stuff.
Is it the Masters of Horror episode where that lady gets like tortured? They, like put like needles into her fingers and stuff?
Yep.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. That was brutal.
Yeah. So he does a lot of other crazy, awesome movies. He did one with Quentin Tarantino, Sukiyaki Western Durango. I think that's the name of it. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Whoa. Just over the top stuff, man. Great. Like it's awesome. Definitely check it out. I'm definitely gonna check out that stuff that you're talking about. Sounds fun.
Yeah, I'll send you guys some recommendations once this is over.
Yeah, I was going to ask, where's a good place to stream those, to watch those?
There's a YouTube channel actually that has a lot of.
I was about to say I was gonna just go YouTube it, see how it goes.
Right.
I love like the old school like soundtrack stuff though. You know, like going back to what you're talking about originally, like just fun. It's just good stuff.
Yeah. Well, they're just very emotive. You know, you can listen to them outside of the film and you can feel a bunch of different things while listening to it. So it's like the same feeling I get when I listen to post rock.
Mm-hmm. There's a whole new movement that I'm really massively a fan of. I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, but there's a whole new sort of style of music that's based on spaghetti western soundtracks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've gotten really into that in the past 12 months. So basically, it's like a country / like stoner rock / I guess post rock fusion with spaghetti western soundtracks, and there's all these modern bands just playing like paying homage, I guess, to a lot of those classic spaghetti western movies.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I can link you some after this actually if you want to check them out. They're pretty fun.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I just think it's kind of cool. There's a new sort of, I don't know if it's a new genre, it might just be a new classification that people have come up with, but there's a style of music at the moment called cinematic rock. Have you heard of that?
I feel like I have, but
that
I don't
sounds
know
like
any
post
bands
rock.
in particular.
It is post rock. That's exactly what I thought when I saw it. But then, I mean, like it's just like a very refined description, I guess, of post rock, of stuff that really does feel completely like a soundtrack.
Okay.
So I guess stuff like that, what you made on this album might be classified as that cinematic rock, potentially.
Okay. So
yeah,
it sounds like it was made by someone. That term was made by someone who didn't know what post rock is at the time.
That's what, yeah, I kind of agree. There's all these like little classifications that keep getting birthed by people. I'm like, dude, that already exists. It's just got this name.
I've actually been getting into a lot of the future funk stuff. Have you listened to that?
No.
So basically, it's like electro disco sort of stuff with Japanese lyrics.
Oh, wow.
They use a lot of sampling and stuff. So like, there's this one project called Android Apartment I've really been getting into. The songs are so infectious and catchy. A lot of people describe it as like Japanese city pop.
Okay.
That sounds interesting. I have to check.
I'm ready to
check that out.
right now.
It sounds super cheesy. It sounds super cheesy, but it's really good.
I'm gonna check it out later. I just wrote it down. It's awesome.
I love some of the more obscure stuff, and like there's all this weird niche genres from specific scenes around the world that are starting to be born. I think it's awesome.
Yeah,
exactly.
I actually kind of got into last year. I didn't even know about it until last year, but there's a whole experimental electronic and sort of noise movement in East Africa.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and there's some very cool stuff coming out of there. One of my top 10 albums of last year was actually experimental electronic and grindcore album from where was it? I want to say the label I believe is from Kenya, but I think they were from Uganda, possibly. I can't remember which, one of those countries. But yeah, fantastic stuff, super experimental. And the cool thing is they keep the African drum beats in it. And then they have ethnographic recordings of like tribal stuff as well played into it, which is really cool.
Yeah, you never hear about stuff coming out of Africa regarding like underground music. So that's
I know,
really
right?
cool. That country's getting some representation.
If you want to check out the label, it's called Nyege Tapes. I think it's Nyege twice and then tapes. And they put out a lot of really cool stuff. Okay.
I'll make sure to check that out.
Yeah. And then there's another one from Northern Africa called, what's it called? They put out mostly psychedelic, experimental, like folk rock stuff. Sahil Records, I think. Hang on a second, I'll get you the name. I found them about 3 months ago. Sahil Sounds, Sahel Sounds. They just do African psychedelic stuff with a lot of folk instrumental stuff incorporated.
Ooh, nice.
I'll link you that as well after the recording. I try to remember all this stuff, but yeah, some interesting stuff to check out from a continent that doesn't get enough attention, I think.
Yeah, because when you think of like experimental music, you usually think of like the U.S. or Europe, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like you see a lot of underground metal stuff coming out of South America, but you don't see too much experimental stuff. It's mostly like the thrash and black metal and black and death metal and stuff that comes out of there. But yeah, you don't
it's
really
all
see
about gent now. It's like all about gent now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. It's I feel like the gents kind of died down a little bit in the last few years. There was that stage when Meshuggah was huge, and you had bands like Periphery and all that at the forefront, and people were just obsessed with gent for a while.
Yeah, they were. I think it was like really popular in like 2015, 2016.
Yeah, that's about then. Yeah,
it peaked and it's starting to die out a little bit. So like the scene, I mean, I wouldn't even call it a scene, but a lot of the bands that that are around me are like prog genty sort of bands.
Okay.
So it's very popular here.
You're in Huntington Beach, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the same sort of area as you. So I think there's quite a bit of that stuff. A lot of the guys I've met around here who are into like alternative music or into that sort of genty stuff. From what I've seen, and that and deathcore. I met a lot of dudes who like deathcore around here as well.
Mm-hmm. A lot of deathcore, metalcore.
There's some good deathcore bands. Don't knock it.
I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying.
Hey, Under Oath started out as a deathcore band. Okay.
I always considered them emo.
Well, like their first record was literally deathcore. It was like death metal mixed with, hardcore.
I honestly
active depression.
wouldn't be able to tell you what that album is, but I know that when I got into them and found them out, I was like, some screamo stuff. I gave them a couple listens. I don't remember exactly what albums. So I can tell you I'm a super fan. Um,
Oh, okay.
no.
Yeah, I loved them when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
I'm still a big fan of them now. Their new record was pretty solid.
I haven't. I feel like I put it on cue to like listen to, and I don't think I ever got around to it. It had a catchy title too for the name, like something about your teeth, or I can't remember. Maybe I'm thinking about a different band. I don't know, but
On My Teeth.
Yeah. So I've been meaning to check it out, and I just haven't yet.
Okay. Yeah, they have a huge back catalog, so they've jumped around genres a lot. But what's so funny is that people tend to know like the more emo, like hardcore, post-hardcore, metalcore thing of Under Oath.
Yeah, maybe that's what
they're not.
I found out about them, and I was like, kind of past that stage in my life a little bit in a way, you know, like as far as genres was like that I were into.
Yeah, but the funny thing is that their first two records were like straight up like death metal, black metal sort of stuff mixed with hardcore. So a lot of people aren't. I don't think a lot of people are aware of that, and they're pretty. I mean, the second one's pretty good. The first one's kind of cringe, but.
Brendan, it's just kind of funny that I literally just said, a lot of guys here like deathcore. Like, don't knock deathcore. You have to be on the defensive for liking the genre, I guess.
I know, you were like, I know, I'm sorry.
Just so used to defending yourself.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a huge fan of it either.
No,
there's some good songs, but there's a lot of.
I know you're not.
Cringy stuff.
I see. For me, I came from like that hardcore background, like, you know, like that was like the first kind of heavy music that I really got into. So it's like stemming from there, I was always into like, I loved that, like, you know, being able to like throw down with a whole like sea of people screaming the same lyrics, you know, during the breakdown and just like throwing down, just having fun. And then came along, you know, like deathcore. So then it was like, all right, they're adding a little bit more like craziness into the music here. There's some more guitar over there. There's this and that, you know, like, oh, this is fun. That bass is heavy, you know. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I like it. It is what it is.
Let's add some tremolo picking to the breakdowns.
Too complicated.
Right.
No, I mean, it's kind of funny how like your tastes change like that over time as well, though. Like some things stick with you and some things you grow out of, and then other things you've never liked and suddenly like it just clicks for you. For me, you know, the genre slam, like brutal death metal slam.
Oh yeah.
I always thought it was kind of dumb for the longest time, and then the last 6 months, something just clicked in my brain. I'm like, this is so much fun, because I think I was approaching it the wrong way. I was like looking at it from like I guess an artistic perspective, being like, there's no progression and stuff. But if you just look at it as like, this is nonstop, endless riffs, and this super bouncy and high energy, and just enjoy it without trying to pick it apart. It's one of the most enjoyable genres I've listened to recently. Like I find it so much fun.
Yeah, it's you find a new appreciation. I think when you get older, you just find new appreciations for things that you just didn't pick up on when you were a kid. I remember when I was like a teenager, I hated rap music. I hated hip hop. I like hated everything about it and stuff. And to be fair, there was a lot of garbage that was coming out from it. But now that, you know, now that I'm older, I can learn to appreciate and enjoy a lot of songs from that genre. I kind of have to look for it though.
Yeah.
To find the really good stuff.
I loved like the good old fashioned, like, you know, I was gonna say like maybe 2000s early Definitive Jux era, where you had like Aesop Rock and like those guys, living legends and fun, you know, good like backpack rap. I don't know how else to describe it, but yeah, I hear you.
I was in the exact same boat as you, where I hated hip hop for the longest time, and then maybe the last 6 or 7 years, somewhere around there, I started discovering artists that I really liked within the genre, and now I absolutely love some hip hop artists. But it's a genre where I kind of struggle to say that I love the genre overall as a whole, because it's just so much of it that I don't like. But there's a lot of artists within it that I think are insanely talented, and I listen to them all the time, type thing.
Usually if the song is good, I'll listen to the instrumental of it. So it's like okay, this song's good because what's playing underneath is awesome, and the The vocals are really good. Like,
Yeah.
I think what finally turned me on to hip hop was Death Grips.
Oh, I love Death Grips.
That's probably going to piss off a lot of hip hop heads, but that's really what's like, oh wow, this is like a totally left field thing for it. And then I gradually got into more traditional stuff.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Death Grips. I'm with you on that one. They're fantastic.
Mm.
It's like it really blurs the boundaries between it being hip hop and being like experimental industrial.
Yeah, correct.
Right.
And then like bands like Clipping as well. Like those guys are pretty cool. They push a lot of boundaries. And you got like Danny Brown, who makes a lot of interesting stuff. And like for me, I love Run the Jewels. I love that boom bap, like really flowy stuff with the non-stop lyrical poetry. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff out there.
Yeah, there are.
But then, I mean, the thing that turned me off it was the radio play. Like the stuff you hear on the radio all day, every day.
Yeah,
It's just garbage. Like 80% of it's just terrible.
Yeah, it is. It's
yeah.
I remember when I was in high school, like all they would play is like the radio stuff. So when I was in wrestling, they would when I was in wrestling, they would play nothing but hip hop. And it was just like I wanted to like jam like a nail into my ears. It was so bad. And so when I would tell people, it's like, but this is your music.
Oh wow! People said that.
No.
Yeah, they said that.
Oh wow!
They're dumbass teenagers. What do you expect?
Right. What did they say when you told them what you were actually into?
They were shocked. Like, you can't. How can you be into metal? I remember when I first started telling people. Yeah, I remember when I first started telling people that I made music myself. I was like, oh yeah, dude, send me your mixtape.
Oh boy.
So yeah, that was annoying. Thankfully now, I think people are more understanding of people's taste and stuff. They don't make a lot of assumptions now. So
yeah, man.
When you're a kid, you don't. So
yeah.
It's just something you grow up from.
I feel like there's still some of those assumptions though, because I was at Venice Beach 3 years ago, and those dudes at Venice Beach always handing out the mixtapes. Like everywhere you walk down the street, they buy my mixtape and stuff. There was this guy. Oh really? If you go down Venice Beach, like maybe not now with COVID, but before there's like 100 dudes with mixtapes there. It's like one of those spots where they all hustle them. But there was this guy there, and he's like, hey, check out my mixtape. I was like, I'm good, thank you. And he's like, wait, don't make assumptions. It's not hip hop. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I wasn't assuming that.
Poor guy.
Yeah. I was like, well, what do you play? He's like, oh, blues. And I was like, well, that's kind of cool, but because you don't see many blues mixtapes, like, you don't see many guys like handing out blues CDs, but yeah, it's just the guy just had, I guess, so many assumptions. People are like, I want the hip hop.
Well, it's also, I think when you say mixtape, people immediately think it's hip hop.
Yeah, I think that's also an issue. I think some people just call their demo a mixtape.
Right.
Just call it a demo, or just call it a tape.
Yeah.
Check out my tape.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, is it actually a tape or is it a CD?
That was a CD.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, he was just calling it a mixtape, but it was a CD, and it was blues.
Okay. Was it good blues? Did you like it?
No, I didn't buy it. I didn't have enough cash on me. But there's another funny story about that. Was we were in New York, my wife and I, a few years back as well, and there was this guy who came up like aggressively hustling his mixtape, and this actually there was a CD again, not a tape, but he called it a mixtape. And we said, no, we're good, thank you. And he immediately pulled the race card on my wife and said, why, do you hate black people? And I'm like,
oh, Jesus.
Whoa. He's like,
No.
My wife felt like uncomfortable, and she's like, no, I'll buy the mixtape. And she bought it, but I have it at home somewhere in a drawer here somewhere, but I guess that probably works, on a lot of people. Maybe, I don't know.
That must be his marketing strategy.
Yeah, that's his marketing strategy, I guess. That was his go-to when someone said no, like immediately.
I mean, it's a dick thing to do, but I guess it works.
I seem to.
I mean, that's like the best. It seems like the best way nowadays to get your music heard is to be an asshole. Unfortunately,
you have to be pushy.
Yeah.
And
There was
Sorry.
it was like what happened. Sorry, it's like what happened with that whole cancel white artist thing that I did.
Oh yeah, I saw that post. That was funny.
Yeah, people legitimately thought I did that on purpose to get more people to listen to my record. And I'm going to say right now, I'm not smart enough to come up with that.
So sorry, I missed the post. What was the post?
So basically, it was April Fool's Day context.
Okay. Okay.
And basically what I said was, because there's a ton of people right now who are getting exposed for like abuse or they're saying something really stupid on social media or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they're dominant. Most of them are like dominantly white. And so I said, well, these people cannot be redeemed. We give them too many chances. We need to hold them to the highest amount of accountability. So we need to just get rid of them. And it was like, we need to burn their CDs. It was like, yeah, it was like burn their CDs, stop watching their shows, like get rid of things or whatever. Give it to other people who it will mean more to. That sort of thing. It was like a very extreme post. It was supposed to be like a satire.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
Most people got it. Other people didn't. And that was really fun because I had people like unfollowing me and stuff.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And then it got posted on this this Twitter page called iHypocrisy. Have you heard of that thing?
No, I hadn't.
Oh, it's like an alt-right sort of page.
Okay.
And so there were like tons of comments from people on there that were like very eyebrow raising.
Oh wow.
to say the least. Like some of it was very concerning stuff. And one guy from the page actually came in, like sent me a bunch of like crazy DMs.
Wow.
And stuff. So I pretty much fucked with him for like the whole exchange. And then I finally told him it was an April Fool's joke, and he goes, "Oh, sorry."
Wow.
So a lot of people exposed themselves that day, which was kind of funny.
That seems to happen a lot on social media with like musicians and artists to post something, and then a lot of people will out themselves in the comment section about what their real views are.
Like idiots that are like, "Oh, Rage Against the Machine is a political. Wow, I can't believe it." And you're like, what machine were they raging against? The issue machine? Like, what the fuck?
Vending machine.
There was someone who complained about Godspeed, the new Godspeed record. It's like, yeah, it's too political. And I'm like, Godspeed is literally one of the most political bands out there.
Yeah, I know. People don't seem to pay attention to musicians that they listen to and what they actually sing about. Because I've seen that same comment about System of a Down, which is one of the most political bands out there as well. Rage Against the Machine, and a bunch of other like super politically charged bands. Like, since when is it about politics? Stick to playing the music. I'm like, that's literally what their music is about.
Yeah, it translates to, I don't like what you're saying, so therefore it's now political. That
Exactly.
My mom doesn't understand this. This isn't about potatoes.
Right? Like, do either of you listen to Violet Cold at all?
No, I don't know them.
Oh, okay. So he's a black metal musician. He's from Violet Cold. Oh. They're from a country I literally never heard about until I heard them. Hold on a minute. Let me look up.
Is it Azerbaijan?
Azerbaijan, yeah.
Okay.
And he's very outspoken about his politics and stuff. And so that it angers a lot of people in the comment section. So a lot of people expose themselves.
Right. I mean,
like it's not his music isn't political. Like he himself is like very outspoken about stuff.
Okay. All right. But I remember like last year when there were like a bunch of different political causes going on last year. Obviously, it was a very political year. And some labels and bands posted not even like very controversial, just some kind of generic political stuff as they do. Like just the sharing, we support this cause type thing, those sort of posts. And some of the comments, man, I could not believe it. It's like, how does something that basic trigger you that hard? And the number of times I just when people say, stick to the music, It's like,
I know.
it's just crazy. Like there are people, that people can have an opinion outside of just playing music. It's like you get to have an opinion on Facebook because you're not a musician, but they don't because they are.
Exactly.
Which is kind of a weird double standard there.
Well, it's funny because these same people will complain that you can't say anything without offending someone.
I know. It's it's that whole everyone but me is a snowflake
anymore.
Everyone but me is a snowflake. But as soon as someone says anything that I don't like, I have a meltdown, like nuclear level meltdown on social media.
Whatever, snowflake.
Right. There needs to be like some everyone needs to have some self-reflection and also get some help, because if something as small as that is making you angry, then there's probably some other underlying issues.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand how something that a person you've never met on the internet, that you've never even like seen or spoken to, can destroy your entire week by them saying something you disagree with. It's kind of crazy, to be honest.
I know,
because they made you think.
Exactly. Well, it's also social media.
Yeah,
a lot of it is Twitter.
Do you know what? Yeah. I'm going to let you know that my social media habits have changed so much since the political year's been over and someone's been barred from, social media. I actually see people I enjoy. I actually see things I enjoy now, instead of just all this negative bombardments,
Yeah, the landscape has definitely changed since things politically changed. The whole vibe of the internet feels different, to be honest, to some extent.
Yeah,
for the most part. Maybe it's just me, because the groups that I am in are very outspoken about a lot of things.
Okay,
so
of course.
I still see a lot of that. It seems like there's less bullshit now, which is nice.
Less false information as well, a little bit less.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's just that it's not as. Maybe it's just the pages I follow aren't sharing that stuff as much. It could be that too.
Right.
That's possible.
The algorithms, man.
Yeah, the algorithms are trash. Like, there are websites now where they will intentionally clickbait the title to anger people, because then they'll click it and they'll make money.
Yep. And then there's something completely different in the actual article. Like, they're taking a phrase out of context completely.
Yeah, there was one that comicbook.com did. It was on I think it was Frosty the Snowman. I'm not entirely sure. So it's like people are now looking at Frosty the Snowman and they realize they noticed something they hadn't noticed before. Or whatever. If you go to the comment section, it's people complaining about cancel culture or whatever. It's like, oh my God, you're getting offended about a kid's show now. But if you actually read the article, it's talking about the fact that the kids were wearing shorts during the winter.
People didn't even read it, so they didn't
even read it.
Oh my God! So there was this media experiment in Australia 2 weeks ago. I'm from Australia, as you might not know. I'm from New Zealand originally, but I spent a decade in Australia, basically. And there's this political satire group there called The Chaser, and they're very outspoken, political news thing, but they do a lot of pranks and publicity stunts and stuff. And they ran a test to see how stupid people in the media were, or how stupid people were following the media. So there's this bread in Australia called fairy bread, which is a children's snack, it's a piece of bread with butter on it. And then, I don't know what you call them here. We call them hundreds and thousands. So there's little sprinkles, like little balls that you put on ice cream and stuff.
Like Jimmy's or freaking sprinkles?
Jimmy's, but they're the little round balls instead of the thin ones.
Okay.
So yeah, that's called fairy bread. It's like a national icon in Australia. It's this whole thing that everyone has at every children's party. And they decided to see if they could outrage people by saying it was being cancelled because of the word fairy, saying it's got a homosexual context. So they made this fake profile. There's this website apparently you can use that generates people's faces that don't actually exist. So it takes components of people's faces and makes a face that is an amalgamation of 10 or 15 different ones. So it's not a real face, but it looks like a real person. So no one can track them down. And they used that, and they chose the name of an IKEA chair and named the person's profile that. And then just started gaining followers for this fake profile. And then after they had like 1,000 something followers, they shared this fake article that this person wrote saying that they were canceling Fairy Bread for cancel culture. And within like a week, they had like talk show hosts reaching out to them and stuff. And so they got this woman from their office to do a fake interview on this talk show, pretending to be this woman. And it went like viral. And then within like 24 hours, people had figured out it was them. And the whole story blew up that they had faked it. But I guess that people in the media didn't do a basic Google search and ran the story anyway a week later, like every single news site in Australia, basically, even though it had come out like 4 or 5 days prior that it was them pulling a prank.
That is ingenious. Oh my God.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I was laughing pretty hard. And like they did a response video afterwards, and like basically no one in the media in Australia knows how to use Google.
Right. You're just like, did you hear about this? Write it down. Yeah, it's like the biggest game of telephone, but with a country.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was pretty
I have a lot
funny.
of friends from Australia, so I'm gonna have to ask them about this.
Yeah, just ask them about the Chaser Fairy Bread incident, and they should be able to tell you about it. I heard about it all the way over here in the US, so they should have heard about it.
Oh my God, that is hysterical. That is crazy.
They've pulled some pretty outrageous stuff, like when they had, what is the summit? I think it's the G12 summit, that one with all the meetings of the nations.
Yeah.
So they made it all the way to the building where the summit was being held, pretending to be security, and they just had like a fake laminated pass that they made up, and they got through like every security checkpoint, and they had a guy dressed as Osama bin Laden inside the limousine that they were escorting. And they made it to the building, and they were going to go inside. They're like, actually, this has gone way too far. We did not expect to get this far. And if we go inside, we might get shot. So they ended up like bailing and pulling out of the conference. But yeah, they made it like all the way into the building with like all the dignitaries and stuff with no real security checks.
That's crazy. With my prank, I make it so I have it. I don't reveal until like in the evening or so. It felt like there was like so much tension going on because there were a lot of people who just didn't know that it was a prank. It's like, is this a joke? Is this a joke? Because he hasn't said anything. and then finally it got to the point, it's like, okay, I got to say something before, I get blocked.
Yeah, this could turn bad.
Yeah.
And then when you did say it was a joke, did everyone kind of relax, or there's still people being like upset about it?
No, everyone's like, oh my God, that was amazing.
Yeah,
people like get messaging me like, oh dude, that joke was amazing. That was just like, that made my day. And some people were like, why don't we actually do it? Because I think some of them actually agreed with like the initial concept of giving a platform to more marginalized artists.
Right.
The Twitter
they deserve
feed,
a platform, but marginalized artists, like, they need to get out there, man. Like, they should be heard, listened to. Why not?
Yeah, and I agree with that. And then the Twitter page, some people were saying like, well, this sounds more like a real opinion dressed up as a joke. And I'm like, motherfuckers, there's no hope for you.
Yeah. Bing, bing, you won the t-shirt.
Exactly.
But it's like, it's one of those things with marginalized artists where sometimes when people try to like do more for them, people call it reverse racism, that whole concept.
Or tokenism.
Yeah, exactly. I saw a thing the other day where someone who was hosting a music festival said they had like 4 slots left and they'd like to give them to minority bands or people of, minority backgrounds. And people got so upset in the comments, like, why would you do that? It should be based on the talent of the music. Like, it should be a merit-based thing and stuff. I'm like, dude, it's his music festival. If he wants to like use that as a platform to support people who don't have as much exposure, then it's no one's business. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like maybe he's giving it to talented, marginalized artists.
Exactly.
So
yeah, exactly.
You're basically assuming that any artist that isn't white doesn't have talent.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
I mean, that's what most people are going to take from that, at least. That's what's implied. Maybe that's not what you meant, but
No, that's definitely how it comes across. Like, assuming that they're just going to get it out, like, because it's a charity case. Like, no, he didn't say that.
Yeah, it's so crazy now. It's like, there's a lot of artists, a lot of very talented musicians out there who I think deserve more exposure.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people will say they need more exposure, but when they finally are given the opportunity for exposure, they turn around on them and they say, "Oh, they're just doing it because they're black or whatever." It's an agenda. It's an agenda. It's like, what do you people want? What do you people want?
Yeah, you kind of have it both ways. You can't call for the exposure and then say, "Oh, well, they're treating them with bias," like by giving them exposure.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to not have gotten that kind of treatment or whatever, but also I haven't been put on any like large bills, so remains to be seen, I guess.
Oh, so that's something I did want to ask you as well. Live shows. Do you perform live?
I didn't perform live for the longest time. I started performing live after Stendhal Tragedy of the Journeyman came out.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a band. I got a band together. It was very difficult to find the right musicians, but I was finally able to find some really good ones, and we played a few shows. I was gonna play some more with Heaven's at Distance that came out, but due to the pandemic, that got shut down, which really, really sucked, because I had a whole release show planned.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was going to do a release show, and I was thinking about maybe doing a tour or something like that, and it all just stopped.
Would that have been your first tour that you've done?
Well, if it had happened.
Yeah.
Because I'm broke, so I don't know how it would have happened. It's just something, because I'd like to try a tour just to say I did it and have the experience. But playing live is amazing. I remember the first show I played with a band. It was at a tiki bar in Costa Mesa, and there was like 20 people there, but that's a large crowd in my eyes, because that's like the most I ever gotten at that point. And we had a great time. I got the crowd to mosh at one point, which was awesome.
Wow.
we had an awesome time, and that made my night. It was great. And then there was another one that stuck out. Was I played at Gothard Sound, and I played with Maximilian Gonzalez, Drawlet, Catharsism, and Wizrobe.
Okay.
And I organized the whole show. We got a good amount of people out there, like because we did it in a rehearsal room, and the room was just packed with people. Like, there were people who had to wait out, like be out in the hallway so they had a hard time seeing stuff. But that was amazing. I think that was the last show I did, actually. Was that the
when was that?
No,
sorry?
it wasn't the last show I did.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask you.
That was probably the best one I played.
When was your last show? What was the last thing you played? Do you remember?
Let me think here. I believe it was at Tiki Bar. I played with Wizrobe and another band. I'm blanking on their name right now. So it was that one. It was either that or a Halloween show I also played there.
Okay, and how long ago was that? Like start of the pandemic type thing, or
no? That was back in 2019. That was like back in 2019.
Yeah,
19.
Over. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the plan is, once this whole thing's over, I'm going to play as many shows as I can. There were a lot of places in my city that I wanted to play, but since they're violating COVID guidelines, I'm not going to anymore.
Right. I mean, hopefully, things seem to in California, slowly starting to come back to life as far as those sort of things go.
Yeah, I'm cynical about that.
Well, here's hoping. I mean, they're authorizing sale of festival tickets from September onwards.
I hope they happen. I'm just hoping that it's safe. That's my concern.
Yeah.
I mean, people are getting vaccinated and people feel safe, and it's just all about your comfortability too. If you don't feel safe going somewhere, like you're gonna get sick. Maybe stay home.
I mean, it could be the case of maybe if it's like a closed venue, not an open area thing that people can't just walk in. That venues have that you have to show you are vaccinated to enter type thing. I mean, that's one way of keeping it relatively safe.
Yeah.
But I mean, who knows? I have no idea how things are going to play out. We'll see what happens, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's hope for the best.
Yes, yeah, I agree. I haven't been to a live show since. Oh, God.
When was your last live show? What was your last live show? And both of you.
For me, it was. Fuck. I saw Cult of Luna, Emma Ruth Rundle, and Intronaut, and it was at.
Nice.
It was at this venue. It was at this venue in LA. I don't remember the name. Crap. But that was an amazing show. That was one of my favorite shows, actually.
That would have been awesome. Emma Ruth Rundle, I only came into her last year, but she's good.
Yeah, and that was like right before the lockdown happened. So
yeah,
it was like, okay, let's go to this one, but then that's it.
Yeah. For me, it was February last year, and it was Obituary playing Cause of Death in full.
Oh, nice.
That was pretty awesome. I'm glad I saw that.
I saw Ohm play. It was just Ohm. It was like so much fun.
I love that band.
Played for like an hour and a half. It was just great.
So 3 of their songs
in March. Yeah, basically. Yeah. When like they got on, like 20 minutes before they got on, they had like this like drone just playing like this zoom, and you're just like, what's going on? And then they walk on stage and everyone screams. They're like, oh my God, it's hell, yeah, and then it was a good time. It was really good. But yeah, it was like literally like a couple like the week before lockdown started, at least for Connecticut.
How many people are in Om now? Is it 3 or 4?
I was 3 people when I saw.
Okay, yeah, it's because the lineup changed with the last 2 albums, didn't it? Or 2 or 3 albums, they changed lineups a little while back.
I'm not positive on that history, but I do know that it was 3 people, and it was really cool. It was really awesome. It was a great night.
Miss show so much.
Yeah,
like,
man.
I know. For a lot of people, that's what keeps them going. It's just that energy and all that atmosphere.
Oh, I know, man. I have friends that love going to like music festivals where they're like, jam bands and DJs and shit, and then like all kinds of stuff, and then prog rock bands, and then I have friends that are like literally like, I don't know what to do.
It's like a drug.
It is.
Yeah.
It feels like a whole piece of our life is missing.
Exactly. Well, think about like art is what you see, but like music is what you decorate your time with. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
It's super important, and I listen to music all the time, whether it's something I truly like, I'm digging, or it's something brand new, or like something from the 70s, something from the it does. Music's so important, and like.
I feel like live shows there's something you can never capture listening to music by yourself, which is the sense of community.
Exactly.
But like going to a live show, it's like all these people in this room have a similar interest to me, and we share a lot of the same, views on things. Yeah, exactly.
Man.
They're my people. It's the easiest way to put it.
Like there was a guy who came into my work the other day and he had a nail shirt on. I'm like, fuck yeah.
Nice. Hell yeah, man.
I love that stuff, dude. Like, I was at
the nails the other day. Oh man.
I was at the grocery store the other day wearing an Entomb shirt. It was the day that what's his name? LG passed away. And I was wearing an Entomb shirt at the grocery store, and this middle-aged lady came up to me and she's like, "It's really sad what happened to him." And I was like, "I know, right?" And we had this whole conversation about Entomb. I was like, I just love the fact that you run into people and struck up conversations about it just based on someone wearing a shirt.
Yep.
Yeah, well,
man.
it's like it's like your people. It's like one of your own.
Exactly, and you immediately have that connection with them without ever meeting them because you have that shared interest.
Yep.
Exactly. There are times where I've worn like my Joy Division shirt and I have like middle-aged people come up to me. It's like, oh yeah, I remember them. They're amazing. They were amazing back in the day.
That's awesome.
That's so true, man. I mean, well, because you have a choice to what you like, decorate your time with in a way, So it's like when you see someone with a respective shirt or a band or even a genre, you're just like, oh yeah, buddy, what's up? High five, like this instant camaraderie, It's
I'm one of those people as well. If I see someone with a good band shirt, I will just straight up tell them, even if I don't know who they are. And most people are like, thanks, man, like same to you. But some people are kind of weird about it. They're like, why is this person talking to me? And like, it's pretty normal to compliment someone on a good band shirt. I think so, at least. I don't think there's anything weird about that.
It's also been like COVID for a year, so everyone's like, someone I know, you like that too,
Yeah. I guess, and then the other portion, people like COVID, don't come near me.
Right.
It's like a social distance high five.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude.
High five in spirit.
Exactly. Right.
Brendan, I know you have some time constraints with having to pick up your kids, so
I'm good right
you're
now.
okay? Oh, good. Okay, I just want to make sure.
3:45 is my cutoff.
Oh, okay. You got heaps of time. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure you weren't running late or anything.
No.
I know that you had a couple of questions you did want to ask. The ones that you always. So Brendan has these questions he likes to always go through in every interview. They're kind of the fun ones. So I'll let him quickly go through those.
Okay, that was a fun tangent.
Yeah, of course, definitely.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, so I kind of went over a little bit, some of it earlier, but let's say, if you could do what's your dream collaboration? Since you've been experimenting with new music and this and that, if you can make an album, with everybody you could think of, have you got something like that envisioned?
That's a very hard one.
Sorry.
I said this, I already said this earlier, but there's so many artists that I enjoy listening to that I would love to one day collab with. If it was acoustic stuff, maybe Anthony Green.
Yeah. Well, there's so many listening to your music, you've got a lot of acoustic instrumentals going on. You have and with your new kind of evolving sound, there's just so much that you could do with old sound and new sound and even combining everything.
Exactly. If I were to do another black metal record, maybe have Tris do the vocals. I don't know. He's quit music, so I don't think he will.
Sorry, who's that? I'm not sure if I know that musician.
Oh, so he was a DSBM artist from the Czech Republic. He was really popular in the mid 2000s.
Right. I'm not familiar. I might have heard his music, but his vocals are kind of something you're looking for.
Yeah, well, it's like these tortured howl scream stuff.
Yeah. I actually love DSBM. It's one of my favorite subgenres of black metal. I just haven't heard of this artist. I'm gonna have to check them out. I'm just having a look now. They look interesting.
Yeah, I went through a huge DSBM phase when I was a teenager, and I became an edgy asshole because of it. But it was a really great time. I got into all these great bands like Happy Days, Hypothermia, Life Lover, Tris, Corium.
Life Lover is so much fun. I love that band. Yeah,
they're great.
And do you know Psychonaut 4?
I've heard of them.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome as well.
I remember it was on Reddit. They made a post that said, "We hope one day you don't have to listen to our music anymore because you're in a better place in your life." It's that is the nicest thing I've ever seen a black metal band say. It's oh, that's so sweet.
That's awesome.
Right on. But so you got him for vocals. Is there anybody else you would like to, kind of do for, the softer side?
I'm trying to think here. Maybe Tom York. I don't know.
Oh, interesting choice. Are you a Radiohead fan?
I do like some of their stuff. Yeah, I think Tom York has a very Beautiful voice. I'm blanking right now because I listen to so many artists that it's difficult to keep track.
Yeah, and the question's kind of like the question kind of catches you off guard as well. Like, hey, if you go with anyone that you on Earth, who would it be?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I was doing harder stuff like the vocalist from Loma Prieta, like Sean, because they were like my favorite screamo band. So obviously I'd love to collaborate with him. I'd actually love to do a collaboration with the vocalist from The Drowned God. Have you heard of them?
I've heard of them, but I haven't listened to them.
Yeah, their new record's pretty good. But their vocalist Cody, he's a beast. Like he can do all these different kinds of styles. So I'd love to maybe collab with him someday.
Nice. What's your? Oh, sorry. What?
I was gonna say I got a lot of notes on things I have to look up after this interview.
I know. I got John God, Android Apartment, and Violet Cloak here for sure.
Violet Cold.
Oh, Cold. Jesus, I'm
cold with a D.
Like the winter, yeah.
Gotcha. I'm glad I said that. I've been searching forever.
Right.
Oh, that's funny. So, what's your favorite your artist? Like who do you like to like? You know, it's a lazy Sunday. What are you listening to?
I've been listening to a lot of Dreamwell recently. They're like an up and coming screamo band.
All right.
Yeah, I'm friends with their guitarist Aki. Other than that, it just really depends. I've been really getting into into Ohava, so I tend to blast them a lot during days around the weekends. Have you heard of them, Ohava?
No,
I haven't.
Is it OHAVA?
OLHAVA. OLHAVA.
Okay, I'm tripping. Another thing for the list.
Yes,
sir.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Sometimes if I want to listen to something mellow, I'll play the Caretaker.
Oh wow, that's a challenging listen sometimes.
Yeah, Everywhere at the End of Time. I listened to that record in bed actually. So I went to bed at like I think maybe 12 o'clock, and I listened to the whole thing, and it ended at 6 a.m. So when I woke up, that very last section of the album played. So it felt very fitting. So, but I would wake up in and out of sleep, and all this crazy shit would be happening.
That album is like, it's something else.
Yeah, it's so unique. You can't even like put a genre on it.
Nope.
You really can't. But it's genuinely like some parts are genuinely nice to listen to. Like the first and third sections are like my favorite.
Mm-hmm. I can't remember exactly, but didn't he say that part of the idea of it was to sort of simulate dementia to some extent? Like
that's the whole concept.
Yeah, you lose track of what you've heard, and because things repeat and stuff, or sound very similar to stuff that's already happened, and so you have to listen to the whole 6 hours, and you lose track of time and memory and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's so crazy. It's such a unique concept. I've never heard something like this before.
I don't think I've ever heard it.
Oh, you have to check it out, dude.
It's very demanding. It's like 6 hours.
It's 6 hours, yeah. You have to have like a whole evening or a whole day to
the
do
Caretaker.
it. Yeah, I'll link it to you right now.
The album is called Everywhere at the End of Time.
I'll send it to you right now, Brendan. Give me 1 second. I got it right here. Matt reviewed it for us.
Yeah, it's very it kind of breaks you down.
I have to say I haven't listened to the entire thing. I've listened to, I think I got like an hour and a half through it or something like that, and I just ran out of time. But even that,
I don't blame you.
Even an hour and a half it's a lot to take in.
Well, that's. I listen to a lot of like 30, 40-minute albums, even hour pieces, like, because I have like a 35-minute drive to work. So I try and like listen to something new and then something I'm familiar with on like either way. But
yeah, I went through a phase where I wanted nothing but like super, super long songs. Oh, DSBM really filled the void because like almost all the songs are 20 minutes.
Yeah,
It's like
Right.
2 or 3 riffs. And then I got into this band called Bowl of Heaven, and they would make songs that were like hours long.
Wow.
Like they're known for making some of the longest music ever made.
Wow.
Like there's one song that they made is longer than the universe. Don't ask me how they did it, but they did it. They made they made a song that was like super infamous for the longest time that was like 2 months long.
Wow. 2 months?
There was a dude who on YouTube who actually listened to it all the way through. Well, he had it playing like for the whole 2 months while he was doing other stuff. So he would always check back and see what's been going on with the music and what the changes were and stuff. So he documented that in a video.
That's crazy.
Jesus
Yeah, that's
Christ.
insane. Yes.
So, I've always had the philosophy, like, everything's worth a listen to, damn. 2 month long song.
Yeah.
Is it like what type of music is it?
It's like drone.
Okay. All right.
They're the best way to describe them would be experimental because they do a bunch of different stuff.
Mhm.
But they're mostly known for like drone and noise stuff. They've done some more rock oriented stuff. Some of their stuff is just straight up random shit.
Have you listened to it came out, what was the release date? Let's see. February 28th. A band called The Mountain King.
No.
There's this album that they did. It's a concept album that was like
1 and 2.
Well, yeah, is this the one that has both tracks? Yeah. So it's The Smell of Stars and Vomit 2, or 1. The one version he broke it up into 2 parts, and the other one he did it as 1 part just to see what people preferred. But it's a 49-minute song, and the whole thing's a story being told of this guy who's in a spaceship exploring the universe on behalf of Earth. And I guess a meteor hits it, he gets sucked out into space, and he waits to die. And when his oxygen runs out, and he doesn't die, and he can't die, and he doesn't know what's going on, and he realizes he was never actually a person. He was actually an android that was programmed to think he was a person. And then it's him coming to terms with the fact that he's never actually been alive. And he's drifting for, I don't even know how long, like a very long time in space, and he loses track of time. And loses like an attachment to like reality and to Earth and to all those things, and becomes like a psychonaut, like a cosmic traveler. And then it's his journey of self-discovery in the universe until he drifts into a black hole. But it's a trip, it's a journey.
It's Mountain King, right? It's called The Smell of Stars and Vomit. Is that it?
Yeah. And it covers, I don't know, like so many genres. It's post-rock, post-metal. There's like doom in there, some electronica. It's a heap of stuff. It's very cool. And the song, depending on
like introspective,
it is, and depending on what's happening with him in his mind at the time, the genre of music changes as he's going through different stages of like self-discovery and emotion.
That's fucking insane. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's very cool. I'm a big fan of this album. I rep it all the time in interviews, so probably too often, but I bring it up a lot.
The guy must be inspired by Blade Runner 2049. Because there's a similar concept that happens in that one. I don't know if you guys seen that one. Have you seen Blade Runner 2049?
I think I've only seen. Oh yeah, that's the new one, right? Yes, I saw that. That was fantastic. Yeah.
That's similar because
you're right.
Because he thought he was human, and the movie is like hinting that he's human, but it turns out he's not.
Oh, actually, spoiler alert for anyone who's listening who hasn't seen it.
You can cut it. But he finds out he's actually like an android or whatever, and he ends up dying. But like the whole point was like he basically did everything that a human could do. He embraced being human, and he kind of dies like that.
So it's Ryan Gosling, right?
Yeah, Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, no, that was phenomenal. Actually, that's the soundtrack and the sound editing on that movie was insane. I saw it at the cinema, and like just the mixing on the sound.
Yeah.
It blew my mind.
Loud.
It was so loud.
I haven't seen it.
It was like everything was so loud and so like epic.
Booming.
I guess like the sound effects and everything. It was just phenomenal.
Yeah, like it was like blasting. Like there's a lot of bass. It blasts in your face a lot.
Yeah, like when like spaceships take off and stuff, or explosions or any of that stuff. You're like, wow, I felt that. It was so loud.
Speaking of explosions, there's a part in the movie where Ryan Gosling and that other guy.
Do you mean from the original Harrison Ford?
Yeah, Harrison Ford. They're meeting together, and then there's an explosion at the door of the window.
Yeah,
and there's a dog right next to them.
Yes. Yep.
And so that gets blown up. They get raided. I think the dogs are in the dogs room. Like, how does the dog survive an explosion like that? That was like on my mind for the rest of the film. It's like, how?
Unless the dog was also a cyborg.
Yeah, that must be it.
That's the next.
That's the case. Well, if that's the case, then Ryan Gosling's character should have survived getting shot.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's. I'll get our friend Matt to keep this in, but put like a spoiler alert thing right before this part. Because I want to keep the discussion in, but I don't want anyone who hasn't seen it to be like, "What? All the twists are gone now."
Yeah.
But no, both of those movies are pieces of art.
I love the soundtrack. Movie soundtracks to me are very like vital to a film's experience, even especially along with video game soundtracks.
It's funny. We actually had. Are you part of our closed group?
Yes.
Yeah, we had those both of those discussions in the past few weeks. There's one about video game soundtracks and one about movie soundtracks as well. And yeah, people are pretty passionate about both those topics.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to get into composing and stuff. So I'm trying to get out there more as a composer. I recently made an official website that it has like it details all my work and stuff, but it's also supposed to promote me more as a composer. So I'm hoping that will get me more out there in film projects. So for those of you listening,
yeah, Leonardo was just in a video game trailer.
Sorry, is that Jonathan Fraser music.com?
Correct.
Okay, yeah. Yep. We will put those links and all that in the interview in the description. So if anyone wants to check that out, that's how you'll find it.
Yeah, I hope that can get me some opportunities. I still got a lot to learn regarding like actually making soundtrack music and stuff, because I know how to make things sound good, but there's a lot more technical stuff to it that I'm very, very ignorant about.
Well, I mean, like it's one of those things where literally anyone can make soundtrack music, but to make soundtrack music that actually makes you feel something in the movie, that's the complicated part, because there's a lot of generic stuff that people churn out for shows and TV shows, but then you see a movie and you're like, oh my god, that soundtrack stuck with me. You know what I mean? And that's the hard part.
There's another band, Colosso. They just did a video game soundtrack as well, or part of it. Yeah.
Have you seen the movie Sinister?
Sinister?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I have.
With I think it's Ethan Hawke, right?
I think so.
Anyway, that soundtrack, I love that soundtrack. I've come back to that so many times. That is, in my opinion, the best modern horror movie soundtrack I've heard, I think.
Do you want to hear something horrible?
Sure.
I don't remember most of it.
The soundtrack or the movie?
The movie.
Okay. Watch it again if you have a time and just listen to the soundtrack though. Like some of the parts that they put in there are like actually scarier than the what's happening in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I will definitely check that out. Hereditary had a great soundtrack.
Oh yeah, a great movie too.
Yeah. Especially the theme of Payman. I was like, oh my god. It's like this joyous theme, but it's more like, haha, the villain won.
We spoke to we had an interview. The last one we did was with a guy called Sean Fraser, and he is a screenwriter for horror movies. And we had a long discussion about shifting concepts in modern horror film. And I don't know if you've noticed, because this is what we talked about, that a lot of new horror has moved away from the slasher and the monster and all that stuff and moved towards, I guess, metaphors for mental illness.
Yeah, psychological stuff.
Exactly. I like it though. I think it's a more intelligent take on, as much more intelligent than like this guy has a knife, he's going to kill you type thing.
Exactly.
Although, I mean, I love slasher flicks; they're fun, but it's nice to see something fresh and different. And that's like Hereditary. The whole point of Hereditary was about mental illness being passed on from generations in a family.
Well, I mean, you've both seen it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, that's what it it's telling you or at first, but then you realize it's the cult. That was disappointing, to be honest, because I wish it was more ambiguous.
Yeah, I liked the fact that a lot of the film is like there's a metaphor. The witchcraft stuff is a metaphor for the mental illness passed down from the grandmother to the mother to the child.
Yeah.
And then if you look at what's the other film they did, Midsummer. Have you seen that one?
Yes, that was a great film.
That was fantastic.
Cloak did that.
What was that? Sorry.
Hacks and Cloak did that one.
Yes. Yep. And I mean that there as well. That whole concept is about death and approaches in different cultures and within different people and their response to it. Another one that was just like there's a lot to think about watching that. It's very clever.
I need to see the extended version.
I haven't seen the extended version. I want to. I've seen the original twice. I'd watch it again though if I saw the extended.
Yeah.
That
movie was.
Sorry, what
that
were
was
you saying?
unique. Yeah, that was a unique experience because I went there. I went to see it with my friend, and the theater was packed, and it was kind of a rowdy theater. And that one scene, you know what I'm talking about?
The cliff.
The what?
The one with the cliff? Or
no, not the cliff. The people were gasping at the cliff part, but the group scene.
Oh yeah, yeah.
With those, the guy and that girl, and the whole theater was laughing.
Yeah, same with my theater. I saw the cinema as well. Everyone was laughing.
It was so awkward.
Yeah,
I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, I think people didn't know how to respond to that because it was a public setting and there were people around them. So it's like, this is uncomfortable.
I know, right? And then there was a Russian lady who was like sitting in the front. So every time something crazy happened, she would say at the very end when there was dead silence, she'd go, "Holy shit!" So it was at the level where it wasn't annoying. It
was kind of funny.
Yeah. So that was quite the experience because it was so bizarre and awkward and uncomfortable to sit through.
The whole movie, there are a lot of parts in that that are uncomfortable for different reasons. Like that scene with the cliff, that was pretty like jarring. I liked it though. I mean, like it was it stuck with me. I still think about it. That was pretty intense.
Yeah. If you've seen The Wicker Man, it does borrow a lot of elements from it.
I have, yeah. Another good movie. I mean, but do you like the original or the remake with Nicolas Cage?
The original. Fuck the remake. The remake's great for different reasons.
It was just super entertaining. The remake, like there's so many quotable parts from Nicolas Cage in that, like the bee thing and the scene with the guy, him in the bear costume punching that lady unconscious.
Yeah. Like I love films like that. Films that are so bad that they're funny.
Well, that's Nicolas Cage's entire career, basically.
Exactly. And the thing is, he was great in Mandy. Movie.
I love that movie. Was awesome.
There was the film Knowing. That was another one he started, and that's a very underrated one, I think.
I can't even remember that movie. I don't know if I've seen it. What happens in that one again?
It's the one where there are certain disaster events that are being predicted. And they have to figure out how to get to them before they happen.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I think I have seen that, but a very long time ago. I need to watch that again then.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like if you watch something like Vampire's Kiss, have you seen that one?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Is that the one? Is that the one with dang, what's her name? Crap. She's the girl from Transformers.
It's. You see,
Megan Fox. Is that the one, Megan Fox?
Oh no, this is way before that. This is from 1989.
Oh, okay.
It's like I made my wife watch it, and she's like, "This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen." I was like, "It's so good," but I like it. It's this movie about this like I don't even know what he does for a living. He's some executive in New York, and he thinks he gets bitten by a vampire. And thinks he's becoming a vampire, but it's actually just him having like a mental breakdown. It's very entertaining, and his acting is like he's normally at about an 8 with over the top. He's at a 10 in this one. It's fantastic.
There's a lot of comedy sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I assume it's meant to be a comedy because it definitely is one. I hope it was intentionally a comedy, but it's very funny. I recommend it, and if you don't like it, I apologize, but I found it really funny.
Yeah, I'll have to give it a shot. One good comedy I saw recently, it was Idiocracy.
Oh, I love that movie.
I only watched that. So I liked it, but I was kind of let down because people would talk about how amazing and how on point it is with today's society. So I was expecting like this very smart, like meta sort of film that's like a commentary. But it's like it's just a dumb comedy film.
Yeah.
About this guy who ends up in a world where everyone's stupid.
Yeah.
It's good, but it's just like I was expecting something. I was expecting something different.
No, it's a very, very basic commentary. It's very fun. I saw it when I was young, so I didn't go into it expecting much. So for me, I just found it funny for nostalgic reasons to watch it now. But I mean, there's some parts that are just hilarious, like the Gatorade thing.
Oh yeah, replace the water with Gatorade,
and all the plants die. I don't understand. It has electrolytes.
The ending was like one of my favorites.
It was pretty funny, and like the whole thing of how you become president. You become president by being the best professional wrestler.
I'm game for that. I'm a big pro wrestling fan.
Oh, really?
Yes, I am.
Okay, most of my friends are. I got a lot of good friends who are really into wrestling.
Yeah, if you've seen the video for Vengeful Burden, I'm actually wearing a Sting mask in that.
Oh, I haven't seen it. Is that on the? Actually, I think that's on your website, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I have to check that out. I haven't seen
it's
that.
on my Facebook. It's on everything. But yeah, right. Sting's my favorite wrestler. I had a Sting mask when I was like 12, and I've used that in a lot of projects actually. It's all worn out and cracked now, but I still get good use out of it.
Okay.
I was just to say, like, we're on the comedy section. I just watched that Eric Andre movie.
Bad Trip.
Oh, it was Bad Trip.
Yeah, I watched that twice now.
Dude,
have you seen that one yet?
I was dying. My wife and I were both just dying watching that movie. Like, oh my god.
Do you know Eric? Are you familiar with Eric Andre?
Maybe. Name some films of his.
Not so much films. He had a show called the Eric Andre Show. He's one of those really obscure dudes who's kind of famous on the internet for being weird. He got like a comedy special on Netflix last year for the first time. Yeah. It's very, very meta comedy and very like out there. Very much internet humor, I guess.
With Hannibal Buress as his co-host.
Hannibal's on the show with him. If you know Hannibal Buress. It's hard to explain him. He's a very, very weird guy. He's half black and half Jewish. Identifies as both, and he works a lot of like that into his stand-up stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's very, very pro drugs. He never shuts up about it. So I don't know. It's the movie essentially is like Borat, but it's him going around like parts of the US, just as himself, but he's not famous enough that anyone recognizes him, and just making these really elaborate setups and really uncomfortable pranks on random people.
Oh, Borat! Yeah, everyone's talking about that.
Yeah, it's like Borat. It's called Bad Trip.
Oh,
okay,
dude, you gotta watch it. It was really funny. I was dying.
I laughed pretty hard. I was in tears for a few parts. It's very funny, and just like people's reactions. Because, like how by the time Borat 2 came out, Sacha Baron Cohen and Borat was so well known, it's kind of probably hard for them to get genuine reactions. This is the case that no one knows who this guy is. So people just think he's like some...
Yeah, there was a couple scenes where people were like, hey, man, like, you got to give him a break. Like, what's going on, you know?
Yeah, and people are like, dude, are you genuinely okay? Like, people thought he was like a homeless person with mental health problems and stuff. It's funny.
Oh, it's so good.
It's pretty entertaining. But,
I haven't watched a lot of comedians lately. Like, I was a big Louis C.K. fan for the longest time, but I haven't been able to watch a lot of his newer stuff for obvious reasons.
He's pretty funny. Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, he is.
I was pretty disappointed when all that stuff went down. I was like, oh man, I like Louis C.K.
It's just now like he made jokes about that, and it's just like, okay, they're not jokes anymore. They're not jokes anymore.
Yeah.
That was like my new thing. I might come back to him at some point, but I feel like my perception of is going to be forever tainted because of what he did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a shame when that happens, man. Like people get ruined for you. Like, God damn it! Like, why did you have to do that? You're so talented.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
I have to get going in like 5 minutes or so.
Oh, okay. All right. So,
what other questions do you want to ask?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a few that could just keep going on and on. I think I'm all right. I think we could wrap it up. I think.
Yeah, we'll go kick it over to you then. Anything that you want to
keep going on without me?
No, I think we've covered a lot of ground. I just want to ask: is there anything that you want to talk about, like tell people about that's coming up, or any projects or things people should check out of yours?
Like what's going on with you?
So I actually just did a cover recently. It's of an old 60s song. So I'm hoping to put that out at some point. It's like in the post black metal, whatever style, whatever people call it. So that was a lot of fun to put together. I'm thinking about maybe doing like an EP or an album full of covers now, because I don't really have any ideas right now regarding new material. It was weird because when I put out Heaven Is at a Distance, I kind of, there's this fire that's in you when you create and when you have all these ideas, and then when you finally put it out to the world, that fire's gone, and you have to. Right. It's hard to find it again. It takes a while. So I haven't really been able to find it yet. So I've been trying to find it in other methods, like doing soundtracks or doing this cover. I'm actually in another project called The Field Where I Died. Okay. We do it's like noise rock sort of stuff. It's very White Suns inspired. We put out a new record last year called Second. Everyone's busy with other stuff. It's an international project. We try to have new people on every release, so it's all unique and stuff.
Awesome.
So I'm just going to throw that out there if anyone wants to check that out.
Sweet.
I don't know when we'll put out something new. I'm in talks with a couple friends about another project. We'll just have to see where that goes. And the most recent thing I did was I put out a video for Vengeful Burden.
Awesome.
Nice.
And you said you're on basically every streaming platform if people want to check out your music, right?
Correct. Yes.
And as far as social media, they can follow you on Facebook. You're on Instagram. You're on Twitter. You're on Twitter, right?
No.
Okay, you're not on Twitter. All right, so Facebook and Instagram.
Fuck Twitter.
We only just got on it recently ourselves. I was trying to I really didn't want to get on it because I know so much about it, but I was like, oh, well, it really helps, I guess. The only good thing about Twitter is that it's very likely that the stuff that you post is going to get shared. That's the good thing about it. Retweets make it very easy for your content to get spread around.
Yeah.
But easier than Facebook or Instagram. Instagram's the hardest to get stuff shared, I think, personally.
Yeah, it is.
It's not easy. They didn't make it easy. The only other thing I hate about Instagram is that you can't share links in your post that are clickable, which I still don't understand why they did that.
That's really dumb. Yeah,
I agree, right? That. I know. I don't understand that. It takes away so much of the practicality of the platform. Because for me, I like Instagram a lot. I like the algorithm. The reach thing makes much more sense to me than Facebook's does. But I can't completely switch over to it because people can't link to the stuff that you're posting. Like if you put an article up, you have to say check the link in bio and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
well,
that's
a thing where if you have enough followers, you can have people you can attach a link to your story, but that's only if you have enough followers. So
how many do you have to have? Do you know?
I think it's like in the thousands. I think.
Oh wow. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh well. Yeah. I mean, is that basically everything for you? Is everything covered?
Yeah, I think so. Just
nice.
Just want to say thank you to everyone who has listened to me over the years. Thank you for checking out my music. I really appreciate your support and your words or whatever. I don't know what the future holds, but we'll just have to see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we want to say thank you to you for coming on the show and taking the time to have a chat with us as well.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we try to keep it relatively light. Don't get not too much of an interview type thing, more of a conversation. That's what we aim for. So, yeah. Anyway, thanks so much, man. And maybe we'll have you on again in the future when you have some more some new projects out. Hit us up and have you on for another chat.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Absolutely.
Take care. All right.
Thank you. You too.
Man. Thank you.
And thanks to everyone listening today. And yeah, tune in next time for another one.
space. He gets wasted space. He gets wasted directions. He gets wasted anger. He gets wasted valuable time. He gets wasted space. He gets wasted directions. He gets wasted anger. He gets wasted valuable time. Wasted directions. It's wasted anger. It's wasted passion.